So you probably caught wind of this recent news. It's been everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
On May 12th, rapper Tory Lanez, who's currently doing time in a California prison, was reportedly attacked.
Yeah, and the initial reports were pretty alarming.
Right. Sounded really serious.
They were talking about like 14 stab wounds, collapsed lungs, needing temporary breathing help. It sounded incredibly severe at first.
Absolute terrifying stuff. But then pretty quickly, we got updates saying that, okay, while it was obviously serious and painful, he was apparently talking normally.
And in good spirits, relatively speaking.
Which, huge relief. But then this is where it gets, well, really interesting.
The Drake part.
Exactly. Drake has come out publicly supporting a petition for Lanez's pardon.
Yeah, he posted it right on his Instagram. Big platform.
Huge platform, shared the link, said come home soon. Just, wow.
It definitely adds quite another layer to an already complicated story.
For sure. So that's what we're going to do in this deep dive. We'll break down what's going on.
Right. We'll look at Tory Lanez, why he's in prison to begin with.
Then dig into the details of this reported attack.
And, of course, explore Drake's involvement, the pardon petition, the whole reaction.
Basically give you a clear picture, the context you need for this whole developing situation.
Okay, so basics first. Tory Lanez. Maybe a quick reminder for some listeners.
Good idea. His legal name is Daystar Peterson.
Daystar Peterson, right. And the reason he's incarcerated, it stems from that very public and honestly pretty controversial legal fight.
Yeah, the conviction for shooting fellow musician Megan Thee Stallion.
Whose legal name is Megan Pete. That happened back in 2020.
And the location itself, leaving a pool party at Kylie Jenner's Hollywood mansion.
Yeah, it just highlights the whole, celebrity world this unfolded in.
Totally. And the trial ended with a pretty hefty sentence.
A 10-year prison sentence, yeah.
And it's crucial to remember, like our sources pointed out, this trial was really divisive.
Oh, definitely. Especially within the hip-hop community. It wasn't seen as straightforward by a lot of people.
No, lots of debate. Which, well, brings us to the more recent events. This reported attack inside prison.
Right. As we said, May 12th, around 7:20 in the morning, local time. That's 15:20 GMT.
And it happened at the Tehachapi State Prison in California?
Correct.
Okay. And do we know who the alleged attacker is?
Yeah. Reports identify him as Santino Casio, 41 years old.
Santino Casio. And this is where it gets quite concerning, looking at his background.
It really does. What's worrying is Casio's record. He's already serving a life sentence.
For what?
Second-degree murder and other violent crimes. But even more relevant here is his history inside prison.
Oh.
He reportedly got extra time added to his sentence for assaulting another inmate back in 2008.
Okay.
And then again in 2018 for having a deadly weapon in prison.
Wow. So this individual has a documented history of violence even within the prison system itself.
Exactly. It's not an isolated thing for him, it seems.
So probably not a huge surprise then that he's reportedly been put in restricted housing.
Right, pending the investigation.
And just for listeners, restricted housing usually means, solitary or being separated from the main population. For safety or discipline.
Standard procedure in these cases.
Yeah, but it definitely raises big questions about, how you keep everyone safe inside when you have people with records like that.
Absolutely. It's a constant challenge for correctional facilities.
Okay, so let's pivot now to that unexpected twist. Drake.
Yeah, his public support. He shared that petition, the one on change.org.
Calling on Governor Gavin Newsom in California to give Tory Lanez a full pardon.
And like you said, it wasn't subtle. He put it right on his Instagram, told people to sign, come home soon.
The power of that platform, you really can't underestimate it.
No way. And you see it in the numbers. Last we checked, that petition had around, 270,000 signatures?
That's a lot of people.
It is. The petition itself was started by a group called the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety.
Okay, and what's their argument? Why the pardon?
Well, they're basically raising doubts about the trial, questioning the evidence, the credibility of some witness accounts in the original shooting case against Lanez.
So they're directly challenging the verdict. Interesting.
Yeah, it suggests there's still significant public doubt, or at least a group pushing that narrative. And Drake jumping in just amplifies those doubts massively.
It feels like the same divisions we saw during the trial are just, flaring up again around this pardon push.
That seems fair to say. It's reignited that whole debate.
But important point here, Governor Newsom.
Right. As far as we know, Governor Newsom hasn't made any public comment on this pardon request at all.
So whether Drake's influence or those 270,000 signatures actually sway anything, remains to be seen.
Completely up in the air right now.
Which brings us back to how divisive, as you said, the original case was. It really split opinions, didn't it?
Hugely, particularly in hip-hop circles. You had various artists kind of, well, appearing to take sides or at least express some sympathy for Lanez.
Right. I remember hearing about people like 50 Cent.
Yeah, 50 Cent, Iggy Azalea.
Mm.
They were among those who publicly seemed to show support or maybe argue for leniency around the time of his sentencing.
It just shows how tangled those relationships can be in the industry.
Definitely. And then there was that whole thing with Drake's song, Circo Loco.
Oh, right. That caused a stir. People thought some lyrics were aimed at Megan Thee Stallion.
Exactly. The interpretation by many was that he was implying she might have lied about the shooting incident.
Which predictably did not go over well.
No. Megan Thee Stallion responded directly. She accused Drake of, making light of assaulting a woman.
Understandable reaction. It just highlights how raw and personal this whole thing is and how it connects to bigger issues.
Absolutely. Issues around violence, belief, celebrity influence. It's all wrapped up in there.
Now, despite everything, this prison attack, we should probably remember, Tory Lanez was a successful artist before all this.
Oh, for sure. Musically, he had a really strong run. What was it, 7 U.S. top 10 albums?
Yeah, and the 7 years right before the conviction. That's significant success. He had a big audience.
Definitely. And apparently he's not stopping, even while incarcerated.
Really?
Yeah, the reports he's been teasing a new album. It's supposed to be called Petition.
His last name.
Right, kind of leaning into his identity there.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable, planning to release music from prison.
It really is. So, okay, let's try and pull these threads together.
Right.
We've got this reported, potentially brutal prison attack.
Mm-hmm.
Then Drake's very surprising, very public push for a pardon.
Right. All happening against the backdrop of Lanez's conviction for shooting Megan Thee Stallion.
A conviction that, as we've said, split the hip-hop world, and frankly, lots of other people too.
It's a situation with so many moving parts. Legal systems, social dynamics, cultural clashes.
Deeply held beliefs on all sides, clearly.
Exactly. There are very different ways people are interpreting the original crime, the trial, this attack, and now this call for a pardon.
It's complex. It really makes you think, doesn't it? When you look at the details of the attack, the whole debate around the conviction that just won't go away, and now this really high-profile support for a pardon, what does it all say?
About what?
About, like, celebrity power, how justice works, or maybe how it's perceived, and how public opinion gets shaped online these days.
Yeah, those are big questions.
And thinking practically, beyond just signature counts on a petition, what else might actually influence Governor Newsom's decision here, in a case that's this messy and this public?
Politics, public safety concerns, the legal merits, argued in the petition. Lots of factors could play in.
Definitely a lot for people to mull over.